What If is a docuseries and mini biodoc based on non-fictional events ending with a fictional twist, completely created from my thoughts from always wondering how things would have been if it would have went like this. But it didn't. So all you could think is, what if?
Everybody go to jail, come out, they got good luck. Hey. When Tyson get in the ring, he knocked motherfuckers out.
On September 7th, 1996, Tupac Amaru Shakur was shot multiple times in the passenger side of a 1996 BMW 750 IL. Before this happened, let's start with where he was at on that night first.
That's my new style. Hey, have a good summer. Have a good summer, be honest.
Tupac's friend, legendary boxer Mike Tyson, was having a heavyweight bout versus Bruce Seldon at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, Nevada. Entering weeks prior, he made a promise to label owner of Death Row Records and friend Suge Knight that he would go, even though multiple sources close to Tupac said he personally felt like something was off, but he was a man of his word and decided to go anyway. One of the sources was then fiance and daughter of legendary music producer Quincy Jones, Kadada Jones, recalls Tupac's eerie feeling according to her recollection. She also accompanied Tupac that night, but not to the boxing match, mainly as a precaution by him to keep her safe, maybe due to the feeling he had or how things could possibly get due to prior and multiple ongoing problems. Later that night, Tupac along Suge Knight and his entourage made their way through the MGM Grand Garden Arena where Mike Tyson was scheduled to fight. The fight wouldn't last long as Mike Tyson would dominate the fight in a first round knockout. As Mike Tyson was leaving the ring, entering the backstage area, an ecstatic Tupac and Suge Knight would greet the boxer with a respectful embrace in celebration, clearly showing their appreciation towards him. Then, as some time would pass, the incident that sparked Tupac's murder would happen. Within the lobby of the MGM Grand, footage captured a heavy altercation involving multiple in a group, seemingly being Tupac, Suge Knight, and their entourage, delivering blows on a rival gang member soon to be identified as Orlando Anderson. After the altercation, Anderson was left with a dislocated shoulder and was rumored to be hospitalized. To give some brief context on why that altercation happened in the first place, at that time, Tupac, along with Suge Knight, which was label owner of Death Row Records, were involved with a number of feuds from the business side of things all the way back to the streets. Two notable situations were between Suge Knight and label owner of Bad Boy Records, Sean Puffy Combs, which had West Coast flagship artist Tupac against East Coast flagship artist the Notorious B.I.G., aka Biggie Smalls, with Tupac dealing with the consequences first of that feud, leading to an extension from it that led straight to him. Suge Knight was a well-respected Mob Piru member that was locked in a battle with the Southside Compton Crips due to one of many reasons, one being a chain that was grabbed and also their connection to the East Coast rap label owner of Bad Boy Records, Sean Puffy Combs. Allegedly, the chain that was grabbed was a Death Row signature chain taken by the Southside Compton Crips before the night of the fight, but worn by Orlando Anderson on the exact night of the Tyson fight and altercation that took place within the MGM Grand lobby. According to Orlando's close childhood friend and Nutty Block Compton Crip member BG Knockout, this altercation was the consequence of his actions due to the lasting feud between the Mob Pirus and the Southside Compton Crips. In fact, about a year prior, Orlando Anderson, aka Baby Lane, nearly lost his life when he was shot in both kneecaps with the AK-47, which required him to learn how to walk again because he was already way too invested in the streets alone. So now, back to Tupac, Suge Knight, and his entourage fleeing the scene from the Orlando Anderson altercation. Tupac at that point returned to his hotel where the daughter of Quincy Jones, Kadada Jones, awaits, as he tells her he just got into a fight and specifically informs her, "Something's up, you stay here." At that moment, he then changed his attire into a basketball jersey before meeting with Suge in the lobby. What's even more notable in this moment is that Tupac was told by his associates that he should wear his bulletproof vest and that he normally does. But he replied, "It's hot, so there's no need to bring it." Another notable thing was Tupac's last sighting on camera. Besides the MGM Grand footage, Tupac was in a basketball jersey surrounded by women seemingly having brief conversation. Shortly after, Tupac and Suge Knight would eventually leave and somewhere down the line head to Club 662, a club owned by Suge Knight and was also supposed to be hosted by him that night as well. But it never happened. Shortly before heading to Club 662, after Tupac was seen in that last footage, him and Suge Knight headed to Suge Knight's home for a quick stop where Tupac's security was ready to enter the back seat of the BMW 750 IL with Suge and Pac. But Tupac instead told him to drive his Lexus with his crew, the Outlaws, because they planned on drinking a lot of alcohol that night and they needed a designated driver back from the club. The last photo of Tupac's night became an iconic snapshot that was captured by a 29-year-old UCLA film school student named Leonard Jefferson, who recognized the rapper at a stoplight along the strip. But little did he know that would be Tupac's last photo alive, and his next stop is where his life would hang on a balance. Now, simultaneously, Orlando Anderson and his gang-affiliated uncle Dwayne Davis, aka Keefy D, along with two other affiliates, were on the hunt for Tupac due to the altercation that happened earlier in the lobby of the MGM Grand. They were driving in a white Cadillac when they coincidentally saw Tupac along the strip, now hanging out the vehicle, talking to fans. They instantly made a U-turn and started trailing behind Tupac and his entourage. Tupac and Suge came to a stop at a red light. A vehicle with two females pulled beside them to the left of Tupac and sparked a conversation that led to invitations with them to Club 662. In the front of Tupac and Suge were two cars, and behind them was his security. Right after, a white Cadillac would pull up to the right of Tupac, boxing them in. Then a hand emerged from out the white Cadillac holding a firearm that immediately sent shots that would load into the vehicle. Suge Knight claimed to have tried to shield Tupac as Tupac noticed the gun and tried to climb towards the back seat, but sadly failed due to the barrage of bullets. Suge Knight would then get grazed in the head, while Tupac ended up getting hit 4 times, with one bullet hitting his pinky finger and exiting through his hand. Another bullet would hit his thigh bone and ricocheted into his abdomen and floated into his pelvis, while another bullet punctured his chest while being lodged into his lungs. Immediately after, Suge Knight pulled off, speeding towards a hospital in efforts of trying to save Tupac's life. The white Cadillac went the opposite direction, while Tupac's security followed Suge Knight. Through the rush, Suge Knight recalled that Tupac was making jokes, keeping it together until he exhaled and said, "I don't think I'ma make it this time." Then their vehicle then came to a stop at the Las Vegas Strip on the Las Vegas Boulevard at Harmon. Cops would then surround the scene unsure of the situation, but trying to get things under control. Suge Knight, who was concerned for Tupac's life, would repeatedly keep shouting at officers to help his friend while one of the first responders was trying to open the door. Eventually, the door was open and the officer still sees Tupac alive but slumped over when the door was opened. Suge Knight was eventually subdued to be checked out for his gunshot grazed wound to the head, but was still concerned with Tupac getting help. As the first responder is now eye to eye with Tupac, he asked him who shot him. Tupac proceeded to gather his last breath and responded, "Fuck you." After that, Tupac was transported to the University Medical Center in Las Vegas, where he was placed on ventilators, where he would still be fighting for his life. But unfortunately, days later, his kidneys would fail and the hospital would have to resuscitate him 3 times. Shortly after, Tupac's mother, Black Panther activist and member Afeni Shakur, would make the decision to let her son Tupac rest and pull the plug. Tupac was officially pronounced deceased on September 13, 1996. He was only 25 years old. Now this is the part of the bio doc where it's fiction, creativeness, thoughts, letting your mind wonder on what could have been, what would have been, and what you believe. What if? After doing some research and doing heavy research, I just didn't want to put my opinion out there on what I thought Tupac would have been if he would have survived the shots. But I also believe that there's 3 alternative answers and not just one. I read some Reddit comments, and it was really my first time exploring Reddit because I found it through Google, and just asking hypothetical questions. And I ended up saving some comments that I got from Reddit. But to be completely honest with you, I had an extra phone. It broke and now it's getting fixed. So basically, I don't have it. I don't remember exactly where it was at, but I'm just gonna go off of what I remember the commenters were saying. I saved at least 2 or 3. And those 2 or 3 really caught my attention because it was reality based. And one of the commenters said they believe that if Tupac would have survived the shooting, he wouldn't have been the same. They basically said Tupac's mother didn't allow Tupac to live because if he would have lived, he basically probably would have been paralyzed, some type of deformity, something. And I kind of believe that. Those shots, especially when I was breaking it down throughout the documentary, were very, very bad. And I'm not a doctor, but trying to surgically remove bullets that are ricocheting from one place to another, from your pelvis, it's crazy. So his kidneys was failing. It was a lot of things that was like going wrong. And with those things going wrong, it just made me see things completely different. So these are my 3 answers to what if Tupac would have been alive then, if he would have survived the shooting. 1, which is 3, then going to 1. I believe if Tupac would have survived the shooting from that night, he wouldn't have been the same. his lungs, his voice, body, a lot of things would have been different. It wouldn't have been nowhere near the same Tupac that the world had before the shooting. Number two, if he would have survived the shooting and he overcame those major injuries, I believe there would have been some minor injuries that would have still inflicted him in some kind of way that would have changed him. Now, I want you to think of certain rappers who been changed in some ways. You have some rappers who got shot and their voice wasn't the same. They got into an accident, their face wasn't the same. It's just, certain things that kind of took away from what they were before, but still able to be active. I think that would have happened to him. That's my second. And my third, I believe overall, if Tupac would have just avoided the gang, politics and everything, that's the Tupac overall we believe would have been the biggest thing ever that came out of hip hop, the world, music, activism. It's just unlimited. Like a great actor, a great rapper, definitely in politics, changing the world in multiple ways. And I feel like the gang politics is what derailed him completely. And if he would have avoided that, that would have avoided the shooting. And it would have avoided a lot of things, even before the shooting. Just him staying on track with a mission that was bigger than just the streets and gangs. Even though these things were part of the vision, because if you're gonna try to help everybody, but not be actively involved. And I feel somewhere along the line, Tupac's vision got tangled up into what ultimately ended his life. So I'll just end it off right there. This is my first documentary, first YouTube video from after my introduction video. If you're following me on this journey, thank you. I appreciate you. Rest in peace to Tupac Shakur. Rest in peace to Afeni Shakur. Rest in peace to anybody that was involved in his life in any way. And thank you for listening. This page is about things that I like and things that are a part of my life. And they mean something to me at some point in my life that made me who I am now. So hopefully you're someone like me or opposite of me that has somewhat of things that's like me. My name is MrThingsThatiLike. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. There's more to come.